Hi readers, welcome back to my channel. It's Juan here. I hope you're doing great. If you're new here, I make videos about books very often, classic literature. I post book reviews a couple of times a week. So if you're into reading, please hit the like button and the notification bell so you don't miss any of my content, and please also subscribe and share my videos with other readers you know. Today we're here to talk about the incredible novel Vanity Fair by William Thackeray. You will find links to different editions of Vanity Fair in the show notes, and if you buy books from any of my links, you will be supporting my work because I will receive a small commission from the books you buy, but it will not cost you anything extra. Okay, so Vanity Fair is one of those blockbuster Victorian novels that everyone has heard about. The kind that gets adapted as a movie or TV series ever so often. Like many Victorian novels, Vanity Fair was originally published in serialized form. It came out in 20 parts between 1847 and 48, and it was then published as a single book, which is how we read it now. I had been trying to read Vanity Fair for decades, but I never seemed to find the time for it. Despite all the adaptations, I somehow didn't have a clear idea of what the novel was about, and I was put off by its length. It is more than 600 pages long. But I finally read it this month, and as usually happens, I regretted not having read it before. Vanity Fair has an intriguing subtitle, which is a novel without a hero, which I think it's a reference to the novels of that time and the author's intention to write something different from them. There is no sympathetic main character in Vanity Fair, which sets it apart from novels like Anna Karenina or Madame Bovary, where we are supposed to sympathize with the main character. Not here. There are two main characters in Vanity Fair, but they are no heroes or heroines. So the novel chronicles the life of two former school friends, Emmy Sedley and Becky Sharp. Both are unsympathetic, deeply flawed characters, particularly Becky, who ends up being an anti-hero. Vanity Fair is a social satire, and although it came out mid-century, the novel is set against the backdrop of the Napoleonic Wars, which ended in 1815, as you know. So if you have read novels by Jane Austen, such as Pride and Prejudice, that is the kind of society that Thackeray is satirizing here. He's showing us another side, a different side, less idealized side of English society at that time. Thackeray frames the story also as a puppet show, so you shouldn't take what happens in the novel at face value. The narrator of the novel is the novelist himself, and we are not to rely on what he tells us. And I do love an unreliable narrator because they make things more fun. But let's talk now about the story without any spoilers. So Vanity Fair follows the lives of two female friends, Becky or Rebecca and Emmy or Amelia. These two characters couldn't be more different. Becky Sharp is an orphan and a penniless young woman of great ambition. As soon as she leaves school, Becky becomes a social climber. She uses people and then throws them out when they are no longer of any purpose to her. So on the other hand, Becky's friend Amelia, or Emmy Sedley, is sweet and kind, but why then isn't Emmy our hero? Well, because she's too passive and always does what her parents want her to do. Emmy accepts what life gives her and never complains. Now, the novel charts the parallel narratives of the lives of these two characters. They will come in and out of each other's lives throughout the novel. Vanity Fair is a sprawling narrative. At first, I thought the novel would center on Becky Sharp, and it seems like Thackeray grew tired of her the more he wrote, actually. The novel does chart her rise and fall in English upper-class society, as I expected, but there's also a lot about Amelia and some of the other characters like William Dobbin, George Osborne, and Rawdon Crawley in the novel. A lot more about them than I expected at first. Now, it is impossible to tell you who Dobbin, Osborne, and Crawley are without spoiling the novel, so I will not. But I can't help but wonder what this novel could have been like if the author had focused more on Becky Sharp and less on the other characters. It would have been a shorter novel for sure, but also probably less frustrating. Now, don't get me wrong, I had a lot of fun reading Vanity Fair. In fact, I devoured it in just a few days. But I was always annoyed by how sprawling it is. It tries to cover so much, and it is hard to be interested in all the characters at the same time. So I found Amelia, for example, insufferable in her passivity, and I think that Becky becomes almost a caricature of the social climber by the end, which I found it disappointing. I did enjoy the parallel storylines of Becky and Emmy, and would have loved more of that and less about the war in Belgium, for example. Thackeray can be biting about the higher classes of English society. I love that. Becky will never be fully accepted just because his father was an artist and her mother a dancer, and also, let's face it, because she's half French. So Becky grows up surrounded by people who are more privileged than her, and that makes her ambitious. She wants what they have, and why wouldn't she? But looking at this puppet show, the world of English upper society is not exactly appealing, and that's what I find frustrated about Vanity Fair. I wanted more about Becky's rise and fall, how she uses people and later discards them. I did like Emilia's story and how it parallels and contrasts with Becky's. So let's talk a little bit about Emmy. So Emilia has been engaged to George Osborne since childhood, but when her family loses her fortune, things take a turn for the worse. So the novel charts Becky's social climbing and Emilia's downfall in interesting and interconnected ways, and that was a lot of fun. But then the novel takes us in different directions, which is a consequence of the novel being serialized and published in the course of a whole year. So if Thackeray had written this as a book from the start, following a plan, a structure, the novel would have been less unfocused and also perhaps less rich. But what do you think? Please let me know, and I'll see you again very soon.